Enough space for yourself, for the family maybe, but also more driving fun and maybe something like an electric Enyaq vRS. This one here is the Skoda Enyaq vRS, the updated version. Bigger battery, more performance. What can it do? How good is it? Is it one of the best all-rounder EVs? We're going to find out. I'm Thomas, this is Autogefuehl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. In Mamba green here and screaming out color, and the facelift here has an updated front, light signature here, but also continuous in the middle part, for example. Also updated lower bumper here, and the vRS version, or in Germany we just say RS, in the UK you say always vRS, has always more sporty accentuations. For example, directly with 20-inch wheels, you could theoretically go for 21-inch, but I think it's not really necessary and also reduces the comfort. So this is a good choice then here to stick with these. The DCC, the adaptive suspension, is also an option, one of the rare options, because everything else is basically full spec. We also have the adaptive suspension spec here today. And the vRS logo in the electric scheme here is also in this Mamba green color. So in this case, it's also fitting to this exterior color. Contrasting mirror caps here, also black frames around, and the length is 4.66 meters or 183 inches. Towards the rear, modern tail lamp, the signature, also been updated here, looks pretty cool. And at the same time, you have this rather boxy design in the SUV form here to have enough space on the interior. There would also be the Coupé available, which has a little bit better CD value, so better in aerodynamic efficiency. But two reasons. First of all, this one has more trunk flexibility because of this boxy shape. And this one here is available with the fixed roof that is just closed. And it's really hot today. That's always better. Or you can go for a panoramic roof you can open. Whereas with the Coupé, you're always stuck with the glass roof that you cannot open. And of course, the sun always goes through, even though you can also install an additional shade in there and so on. But overall, the SUV form so far is the most beloved one. Although I feel that the Coupé also looks nice and has some advantages, you know, but you can always argue pro and con. Let's check out if it has a frunk or not. No, it does not. That's the thing with this platform. Same for the ID.4, ID.5, which is the sister model, by the way. However, performance-wise, here the vRS version, all-wheel drive, one electric motor in rear, one in the front, and the acceleration figure is 5.4 seconds. That's 0.1 seconds quicker than before, so a little bit upgrade there. And it's also 1.3 seconds quicker than the all-wheel drive version of the normal Enyaq, if you think about the all-wheel drive non-vRS version. So let's say quick enough in the acceleration. And also interesting, we have an update with the battery, which is now at 79 kilowatt hours. So you have 2 kilowatt hours in gain of the battery capacity, and that is exclusively here for the vRS model, the sporty one. So that might be an argument at home to say, hey, I want to go for that sporty model because, yeah, better range and so on. However, you've seen these large wheels, they're also wide. That, of course, is not that good for the overall range. Yeah, and talking about the range, we will also do a range test today with an average, but also German Autobahn, motorway, and then later on at the end of the review tell you more about the real-world concise range. And 10 to 80% state of charge, DC charging, there it is, 11 kilowatt AC, and then here you have like 185 kilowatt DC peak and 26 minute 10 to 80% state of charge. So they have also tweaked the peak a little bit. It's a new cell chemistry generation that the facelift gets here with this battery pack. Let's move towards the interior with the non-special high gloss key fob. Door closing sounds. Solid. Solid. However, the front door sound definitely better than the rear door. Sometimes it's the other way around. Then inside of the doors, yeah, first of all, most obvious here with the integrated umbrella. That's always a funny feature, especially when it's raining. Glad it's not today. Here also somewhat soft touch, and the structure on top part, microfiber insert here for the vRS version. Classic controls with the windows and so on. This is like the grab handle from the inside. Small trash bin, and what's cool behind it, you have felt covering here at the inside of the door pockets, and we rarely see that with premium manufacturers these days. Interesting. Enyaq entry badge, no vRS entry badge though. Okay, but you have a special vRS steering wheel, It's not available with animal-free materials so far. Then these neon contrast stitching, real jogs on the steering wheel, however, to control, and real buttons. That's actually quite cool. And here also with the floor mat, you know, with the neon or bright yellow contrast or Mamba green contrast if you want so far. The only thing is here with this special vehicle, not sure if it's like a one-off, but this should be nice, better done here now, like from the contrasting here. Outside a high-grade leatherette, inside a microfiber, also like shining through. The only thing is, in this case, it really fits with the exterior color. It's a cool combination. However, if you go for another exterior color, it will not change the interior color. So then you have to deselect the microfiber seats if you want a gray stitching. That's, I think, not a good choice, because it's a fun thing to present it that way. But most customers just want to have maybe like gray or neutral stitching and not like these neon contrast. But here in this combination, it does work. And then here, steering wheel up and down, in and out like this. And you always see here, this is nicely done with the microfiber on the dashboard. That's pretty cool. And then with 189, 602, there's enough headroom left. And these sport seats are really comfortable, hold you tight, enough shoulder support, and they also work for tall people. Welcome to the cockpit of the Enyaq vRS. And not only do we have felt at the inside of the doors, not only do we have these pretty cool sport seats, we also have microfiber here on the dash all the way, and that's a cool thing. Also really thick application of that. Then we have some carbon fiber look here as a decor element, standard glove box right here, and 13-inch infotainment screen. No physical dials, so as for the climate unit. It is also kind of small here for the plus and minus. The slider is for volume only, so not ideal as for this aspect. You have some physical hotkeys in the lower part, for example, to access the climate menu, scrolling through the DCC modes. You don't have to click it here and then confirm in the screen. You can also click them through these individual driving modes, which are also connected then to the adaptive suspension, at least something. As for that, then also cool microfiber cladding here for the middle console. That is also softer for your knees. A lot of space underneath, for example. The top part as an inductive charging pad for your phone, but also 2 USB-C charger. Then here, these cup holders, they are not really adaptive. However, they have these knobs here, Lego alike, on the bottom, that when you have these bottles here, that you can just put them here, and then you can put them open with one hand, that they have like, you know, they go in like this and then they're held tight. Interesting idea. Some space here. Integrated small shifting lever, automatic then of course for this electric vehicle, no gears. And then coin holder, very German thing. Microfiber cladding here for the armrest, soft enough. And you have the not only Lego but also Tetris in this vehicle. You can play some Tetris here with these additional, and then here the honeycomb design. Recently saw this documentary where they said like nature uses these honeycombs to save material weight and also material itself, but at the same time it adds stability. So bionics here in a Skoda Enyaq vRS. So really nice cockpit, I like it. The only thing you could say is maybe, the digital instruments are kind of small, yes, but then again you also have a head-up display. And these vehicles here from the Volkswagen Corporation, also ID4, ID5, ID Bus, they have these seat sensors that when you leave the vehicle automatically shuts down itself, and then you can have some fun with it. So for example, when the door is open and every time you lift up your how do you say nicely for? But it's not said nicely, right? How do you say it nicely? Is it maybe some native speakers help me for that? How you say this for nicely? And in a gentle way, sophisticated way. What's the most sophisticated word for? Anyways, it's funny that always when I lift it up, my booty. When I lift up my booty, then it goes beep, beep, beep.
And in the ID Bus it was
yeah, And in the ID bus, it was even funnier, as Leah said. It was always like dun, 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 like this Volkswagen chime. You know, always when I lift up my... there's like a short video of that one as well. Pretty funny as well. And the driver POV here. As I said, wheel buttons here, for example, to change the travel assist back and forth. Here also for heated steering wheel, a separate button. And the infotainment system itself, what's very interesting is, of course, can connect to Apple CarPlay and Auto here in the top part. You can set your individual hotkeys, for example, for the EU speed chime. As always, when you press and hold the top part, then you can select here from... You have to pay attention to our review, not do something on your smartphone.
It was your smartphone.
Even my smartphone, you're spying.
For, matcha latte spots.
Oh, you're searching for matcha latte spots in connection. You're tired already from...
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I'm doing so exciting things here. For example, explaining like how to do shortcuts like here. Look at that, how amazing that is. Wow. And then you can do individual shortcuts like the speed limit chime here on the top part. And then you can easily deactivate it because you're the one always deactivating that, right?
That's true, yeah.
It's true, okay. Okay, you can keep on searching now and we go on with our review. Rear seats, really nicely with the separate sunshade. And then this one is hard pack, however it does have a structure. Then we have the microfiber inserts here, hard pack however on the lower part. Then we have the nice microfiber in the rear seats as well. Also here with like kind of like a seat lengthenment here, this special feature. Also with the color perforation, so to speak, ISOFIX covers. They stay in the vehicle and yeah, it's a nice comfortable seating position. You can put the head restraints up here like this, of course, 189, 6'2", enough headroom left, and there's also enough legroom, so good offering of space. Pull these down here and then you can, for example, add this smartphone holder here if you like, or tablet holder, both would be possible. And in the lower middle part here, you have additional cup holders, but you could also put out this whole part. Would be possible. 2 USB-C chargers here and climate unit, and also when the vehicle is running, you would have seat heating. Trunk is at 585 liters. Let's check it out. Electric hatch. What does it mean? Here, of course, the SUV has a little advantage in comparison to the Coupé. Then here, press. Nice rails here at the sides. That's good. This one also fits vertically. No problem. And then here, easy remote unlock of the seats. Here the normal length is almost 1.40 meters. That's pretty cool. Then here the width between the wheel arches, also almost 1.40 meters. It's also good measurement. And then here the height, we're at 29 inches or 73 centimeters. Here you can also put this area here, the front one, a little bit lower like this here, but when you have it in the top position, then you have a better transition, of course, second unlock right here. And then you have interesting nets here, which you can pull open here and then also can close them again, same here. There's also an interesting idea for the cable storage, so why not? And underneath, also some more space, more cables, for example. Oh, or maybe the Skoda set of fuses. Interesting. Total length, we're here at 69 inches or 1.75 meters. Sport mode. The luggage is flying. And it's 150 kilometers an hour from 50.
Wow.
That's nice. The luggage is flying in the back. Leah meter even goes off, although it's an electric vehicle.
It's the green color.
It's the Mamba green. And we're on the German Autobahn with Autogefuehl and the Skoda Enyaq vRS. 5.4 seconds is the acceleration figure, 0 to 100, and this was here 50 to 150. Very nicely done. All-wheel drive. Nice boost out there, but also smooth in the feeling.
Silent?
Pretty silent here at 150 kilometers an hour. Good noise insulation, I like that. Then we have the DCC, which is a little bit stiffer here in the sport mode. Now I'm here on the brakes for the recuperation. I could also put it here into the B mode. Then I have more recuperation with the pedal. So when I just lift the pedal, so both is possible. You can always go back again, and you can also decide individual if you want to go in steps here on the pedals on the steering wheel, which mode you are preferring. And when we go back here, I can.
Weird.
That's
when
weird,
you
right?
Switch the mode,
yeah.
it goes to maps.
I mean, no matter where you're in, and then when you switch through the DCC modes, the background is suddenly the GPS. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know. But let's go back to the normal system, normal DCC mode, because then I have a little bit more dampening. Especially here where the motorway, the German Autobahn, is well built. Feels really nice, good comfort. We'll also soon experience how it is in potholes and so on, but that's actually pretty cool here so far. And 20-inch wheels here is still fine as long as there are no potholes. You know, there is also 21-inch available for the Enyaq vRS as an option. You should not go for them. And here also we have the closed roof, which also helps in noise insulation. And here in summertime, really hot today, 34 degrees Celsius at this moment on the motorway. So that's in the 90s in Fahrenheit. So
Not for our Palm Springs.
yeah, our friends from Palm Springs or from Texas, they think like, it's like,
That's cold.
that's cold. I have it every day. Yeah, but that's of course good not to have the glass roof. And even though there is a shade available and you can actually open it, the closed one of course will keep the car cooler. But this car feels cool, calm and collected. German Autobahn is always the best test, and even here we can go once again in the sport mode, right? 130, 140, 150, 160. That's really nice. There's VW Passat in front of us. Yeah, and really silent on the motorway. I love that. Pretty cool. So good insulation, nice settled feeling on the ground. The steering here has a direct input. You don't have to steer too much. The normal lane keeping assist is active. You can also set it here to a special hotkey in the top part or deactivate it here if you don't want the lane keeping assist. So that's also an easy way to deactivate it if that's annoying to you. At the same time, you can also set the cruise control and also switch here if you want the normal one or also with the travel assist. Then you also have here guiding us left and right a little bit, like keeping us in the lane. And so far that's smoothly done. That's fine here on the motorway. And let's also check out about there's a blind spot monitor, hands-on detection here. See here, that was enough to tell the car I'm still here. So also smooth as for these systems. I also like how the blind spot monitor is integrated in the side mirror. That's also pretty cool. You can see it once again. I'm not sure I think from this camera you can see it. There we go. There it is. When I hit the turning indicator, you have an additional flashing. So it's a good motorway vehicle indeed. About the range, we'll see about later. It's of course not the biggest battery. Here, a slight upgrade for the VRS version, and also a little bit bigger here in the VRS version than we have with the other versions of the Enyaq. So that might be a reason to go for the VRS. But I like how the power delivery is really like linear and smooth. So here you don't have the feeling like, oh, I'm driving an electric vehicle. It has maybe something I don't have with the petrol, you know, like it has emotion, but at the same time it is settled and calm if you want to, you know, and it gets the emotion and again on demand. So that's pretty cool. Sometimes I feel when the lane assist is in that the steering is a little bit, you know, more vague. Let's take it that way. But you can also deactivate it. But still, now I've deactivated it. Let's see. Let's also put everything out here. Let's see if it still exists. I think now it's a little bit better. But sometimes I feel here at the high speeds that we are a little bit, you know, in this area. Could be a little bit more responsive, like on the very, very small degree angle area here, you know, like this, you know. But when you deactivate all stuff, it's definitely better. Now here in the corner, really going in with speed. The car really makes you feel driving agile. Yeah, Leah is surprised how fast I go in the corner, because it is possible, you know. Low center of gravity, good grip on the ground. Of course, now great temperatures to test it also, because the tires are really, you know, having a lot of grip. It feels amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool. The seats
are
here,
very good,
microfiber, not sliding around too much. Then they also have the bolstering here, keeping us tight. So really enjoying that here. So a lot of fun. That really speaks for that vehicle. And yeah, the VRS or RS, as we just say in Germany, always has this, hey, I want to drive a vehicle, a Skoda here with a lot of space and stuff. but I want to spice up my driving life a little bit, and that's what this vehicle is doing here. Acceleration out, really beautiful, beautiful acceleration, and not getting sick. Leah's not getting sick. That's also like the Leah stamp. Gets the Leah stamp. That's pretty cool. And let's now test more about the comfort features again. You can click it through here. Even to the comfort mode, or you can also go to the individual mode, where I tend to go for the individual mode, where I make more steering feedback but suspension soft. Comfort mode, DCC is then in the softed node. It's also doing a good job here. Like that approach overall. Yeah, it is a driver's car, definitely a driver's car, and also comfortable from the seating, large. Also, when you're a tall driver, it fits as well. Yeah, there's hardly anything you can criticize in driving with this vehicle. As for recuperation modes, I rather tend to stick here with the classic approach, using the brakes. But as I said, you can also use this B mode and so on if you're more about like one pedal driving, or if you're maybe switching over from a Tesla, if you're more used to that, for example. That's all fine, you know. And I mean, controls, we know it maybe from the Kodiaq, which is the internal combustion engine competitor to this one. We have like the turning jog for the ACC, not for the AC, not for the ACC, so for the climate control. We don't have that. We have it here in the screen. I mean, it's fairly okay. I still prefer the physical knobs. That's maybe something I would wish also here. Yeah, but that's maybe the only thing you have to get used to. Other than that, you probably just secure your luggage in the rear a little bit more, that's not sliding around, because you will have some fun with this vehicle. Let's see if we find some more bad roads here now, a little bit fixed, but so far it's also fine. I think the tire choice is also pretty good. And here it's getting a little bit rougher also on. So far really fine, so I'm happy with the tire suspension setup. As I said, don't go for the 21-inch wheels. We had a couple of vehicles now in a test with 21-inch wheels where it wasn't the best idea. Now here's some transverse bumps.
Good job.
It's also fine so far. If you're not going for the VRS version, of course you could go for smaller wheels. It's still always better for the comfort, but I think here this combination is fine. And yeah, we see that that Mamba green, what it promises on the outside, really holds it while driving. As for consumption and range, an overall average today with really warm temperatures and so on, and with motorway and city driving, more some 16 kilowatt hours and more kilometers. That's close towards 4 miles per kilowatt hour. That would mean a realistic real world range of around 500 kilometers or a little bit over 300 miles. However, if you rather think higher speed motorway, so like 120 kilometers an hour, 70 miles per hour, then you're rather towards 18, 19 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometer, so rather 3 point something miles per kilowatt hour. And that would be long haul motorway, rather a real world range of 400 kilometers an hour or 250 miles per hour. So this is like the spectrum you have there. Pricing, with the Enyaq, with the big battery, you are already at around 50,000 euros. And if you go for the VRS version, you add about 10K. So it's basically a full spec Enyaq. The only thing you can order extra is the DCC, the adaptive suspension, and the panoramic roof. And I think like a trunk travel package or something like that. So here you're at 60,000 euros, and then you're like basically done. And they also offer good leasing rates. That's of course very important, especially with electric vehicles. For example, in Germany, the case is almost all electric vehicles are sold as as a company vehicle for self-employed or for employees who can take a company vehicle, and they go for a leasing rate. This is like the main thing for electric vehicles in Germany, and this is why this one is also quite successful in that respect here. So one of the most sold EVs recently. And I think it works very well. It drives extremely nice. It has a lot of space on the inside. It can combine family life with having fun with driving the vehicle. And since this one here, the VRS version, also gets this little bit extra from the battery, for example, a little bit extra from the acceleration, it also kind of makes sense to go for the VRS, just giving you arguments at home, to go for the VRS instead of a normal high-spec Enyaq, so to speak. The only problem will be that there are new competitors on the market that, for example, already have a larger battery, maybe charge quicker, and there are also more competitors to come right now. And this might be the only problem here of the Enyaq, that of course technology is advancing further and further, especially with the electric vehicles, and you should check it out, some of the competitors right now.